here I am again. Different day. Thought this was going to be easy. It was not. Hello, I am Scop, and here I am with my Steam Deck. I previously made a video on how to mount a external hard drive from your Steam Deck, and someone asked, Winnie, this video is for you. Could you do a video on how to mount a network SSD or HD, whatever? So I thought I'd try, actually. So let's try. So here we are, another day, and this is the best I can come up with for you, Winnie. And so I've had 3 attempts at this. Once with the SMB that is available on my Fritzbox, which didn't work because of some error. Another time with my DDWRT box, which also has SMB, which has a different error. So now I have finally just bit the bullet, and I've set up Samba on my Fedora server, which is here, and this is where we're going to mount. So that's all set up. My SMB set up, I can access it and stuff. First, we need to do a sudo make directory. We're going to put this in run, media, and what we can call it? We'll call it Steam NAS. Steam NAS. Enter. Put in your sudo password for your deck if you've set one up. If you haven't set one up, then simply type this. So that directory is now there, and we're going to go sudo mount .sifs, and then the URL of the server. 5 for me, and it's in external. Then where you're mounting it to, so run media, and then Steam NAS, and then we're going to want to give it options of the deck UID. So UID equals 100, 1000. So I think then we're just going to need to have the user, which for me is Scop. And then it's going to ask for the password. This is the password that you set on your Samba. So I've just set a temporary password for this. And there, that is that. And then in Steam, we need to add a new storage, which, so it might be here. If not, then go to choose, then come to run, media, and Steam NAS. Right, and it's going to complain about there being 2 folders called Steam Apps and Steam Apps. I don't know why. To be honest, I've tried different options and it still always complains. One option that you probably should do, it does tell me in the D-logs to mount with this option. So actually, you know what, I'm going to unmount and do exactly that. Then we're going to do the same options, and we're going to insert that just in case. There we go. It's still complaining about the cases. I don't know how to fix that. I would say my Linux knowledge is intermediate, so maybe someone who's an expert at this can tell me what I've done wrong, but I don't think I've really done anything wrong. I think Steam's just been a bit of a bum. So this is now there, but it's not perfect. And if I just try to install Towerfall on my NAS drive, then it's going to fail. So as you can see, that has failed with a write error. And if I come to my journal logs, it just says this, installing breakpoint exception. So no idea what that really means. Dmessage doesn't show anything important. So I have really no idea why that doesn't work. I really don't. But there's a but. There is a way to get this working. And it's not ideal. It's not an ideal situation. But if you come back to your storage, Get rid of that. That didn't work. Uninstall. Go back to your library and download the game again. And then instead of installing it directly on the NAS drive, if you install it on your local drive, so Towerfall is now installed on my local drive. So if I come back to my storage manager here, and this is my local drive where the game is installed, if I click here and click move, and then move it to my NAS drive. So I've moved that to my NAS drive, and it's been successful. And if you just wait until it validates, which it has, and then come back to my library, this is now on my NAS drive. And if I click play, as you can see, it plays successfully. So this is now on my NAS, and I'm playing it from my NAS. I just cannot download to the NAS for some strange reason. I do not know what the problem is, but if the game is already there, then it works fine. I wouldn't do this with AAA games, but for little games like Towerfall or all your ROMs that you've legally acquired, then it's fine. It's fine. And yeah, it's for a game like this, no issue at all streaming from the NAS. It is only a tiny game, 400 megabytes, I think. So yeah, that's it. That's the best I can come up with. Is copying it is the only way that seems to work for me at the moment. So then, what if you already have a library on Windows? Let's see how that works. We'll get out of this game. So before I proceed, I'm going to quickly unmount this. There's my U-mount. And then we're going to come over to Windows. So right now I'm in my Windows machine, and I'm going to add that shared drive. Let's go for Y. Y is fine. External, use different credentials, and finish. Okay. Right, and there it is now mapped on Y on my main PC, on my main Windows PC, I should add. Add Y. Okay. Towerfall's already there, which is good. And in my Steam, this is only going to work for games which, ironically, aren't made for Linux. You're going to have to only download games that are Windows games, so then Proton just picks it up without having to mess about changing the files. Because if the game has to update or change, like if you're changing to the Linux build, then technically it's updating the game. So this will just completely fail. So you need something that is just Windows only. So for this, I will just pick, I don't know, maybe Portal. I think Portal's just a Windows game. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. So Portal might have actually been a Linux compatible game. So I'm going to try one more game. I'm going to try installing one more game from Windows. And I'm just going to go for this because it's a bit small, so it's not going to take forever. So we're going to install this on the NAS drive from Windows. So basically, if you want to download a game onto your NAS from Windows, you've got to come to the store page and look here and make sure it only shows the Windows logo. Because if it shows the Steam logo, that means it's got a Linux port. And it's just, once you download this onto the NAS from Windows and then connect to it from your Linux machine, it's going to try and convert it to the Linux version. And I just cannot get updates to work on a NAS from Linux. It just does not work. It works fine in Windows, but not how I've mounted it in Linux. So hopefully someone out there sees this and tells me a better way to mount a NAS drive to make this work. I've so far failed to get this to work at all from Linux. I've also failed to get Linux working with an NTFS drive. So I don't know. I really don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it's either me or it's Gabe. I'm going to blame Gabe for now until someone tells me it's my fault. So there's the 3 games that are currently on there. I'm going to remove this drive, and then we're going to go back to the deck, and I'm going to remount that drive, and that's my password. It's still going to complain about that. I'm going to come to Steam, and these are the 3 things that are installed. Towerfall, this what I've just installed, and if I press play, I don't even know if this is compatible with the Steam Deck. So there's Mickey Mouse on the Steam Deck, and it's playing directly from my NAS drive. Same with Towerfall, that works fine. Portal didn't work because Portal has a native Linux port, and for some reason I just cannot get that to work. You probably could get it to work rather than it being copied from Windows. If you install it on your Steam Deck and then copy it across to the NAS drive, then it would work. There you go, Winnie. That is how you do it. Oh, actually, one more thing is that's all well and good in desktop, but you're probably wanting this in gaming mode. So to do that, you're gonna have to do that command line each and every time by dropping into desktop and then switching back to game mode, which isn't really convenient at all. So what you need to do is you're gonna have to come. I'll just come here. So you have to come to sudo nano / etc / ET, I said. ET. fstab. Again, type in your sudo password. And you're going to need to add a line to the bottom of here, which is going to need to be similar to what we've got here. So you're going to need to add // where you're mounting to. So your Samba drive, if it's a IP or a URI, then whichever. So external, for me, this is what it is for me, and we want to mount it in run / media / Steam NAS. Steam NAS. Does it need the / on or not? Probably not. And then the file system is CIFS. And the options are going to be UID equals 1000, your username for the Samba drive, which for me is Scorp, and also your password. You might want to put this all in a credentials file and link it up. I'm not going to do that now, but there's probably guides on the internet how to do this. This is a temporary password, so I don't care if you see it. It's just win for Winnie. And then we're going to need just the no server, just so it stops, so the logs stop complaining. And then actually I might want to put in a no fail so that it doesn't break when we launch and it doesn't find it. Whether it would do or not with the CIFS, I do not know, but I'm going to put it in there anyway. And then 00, just so it doesn't do backups and it doesn't do a file system check. And I think that should be it. So no fail, no server-os. Yes. So then Control S, save, exit. And then I'm going to restart the deck so it goes straight into game mode. And then we can see if that's actually worked. In fact, I need to shut down because if I restart, mine goes into Windows. So, shut down. So, there's my deck restarted, and it's dropped us back into game mode. And I will just quickly check, make sure everything is there. It should have auto-mounted. And yes, there it is. There's my NAS drive, which has now auto-mounted through the settings from the fstab entries that we just added. Those are the 3 games that are currently on my NAS drive. Portal will not work because I've copied it from my Windows computer. The other 2 should work. So, yeah, downloading games directly to the NAS from Linux, I can't get that to work. I do not know why, I just cannot get it to work. If you download it directly from your Windows PC and it is a Windows only game, then that will work. If you download a Linux game to your internal drive and then copy it over to your NAS drive, that will work. It's just downloading directly to the NAS drive from Linux that I cannot seem to get to work for love nor money. So here we are. We are going to just play this. And like I say, this is Castle of Illusion. This is on my NAS drive. I probably wouldn't try any AAA games on a 1G network. If you've got a 2.5G or a 10G network, then you might have very good results. But I'd mostly use this just for like your legally acquired ROMs and smaller indie games like this. I know this is not an indie game, but you know, indie games in this sort of size. So here it is. This is launching directly from the NAS drive. So there we go. This is Castle of Illusion, played from my NAS drive on the Steam Deck in Linux. So this is Towerfall, which is also on my NAS drive. This is also working from the Steam Deck. If we come and try and play Portal, which is the Windows version of Portal, and this happens to have a Linux build, it's just not going to work. So any game that you have on your NAS that needs any sort of update, it could be for any reason. It could be because it's the changing to the Linux build, or it could just be that the game actually has an update. It's just going to fail. So to update your games, you're going to have to then mount the game on your Windows PC and update it from there, or move it back to your deck. Yeah, it's not ideal. I really don't know what the problem is, and it's a Steam problem, to be honest. I don't think I have done anything wrong. I'm not 100% sure about that. Like I say, my Linux skills are intermediate, I would say. So hopefully a Penguin nerd can help out here and tell me either what I've done wrong or tell me what Valve have done wrong. So I am fairly convinced at this point that this is not a problem from my end. This is not a picnic error. This is a legitimate error in the software of Steam, because copying games across works fine. Just updating, there's something preventing games from updating. I originally thought it was a shell script called Steam exec test, but I'm not 100% sure it is that anymore. So anyway, I hope that helped you out, Winnie. So like I say, it's perfect to put on all your ROMs and stuff, your legally acquired ROMs and some indie games. You might be pushing it a bit with AAA games. A few years back, I did try this with BioShock Infinite, and other than the horrendous loading times, the game did actually play, and it played quite well for like 5 minutes, and then the FPS dropped to like 1 or 2 frames a second for like 10-20 seconds while all the assets streamed in from the network. So it all depends on how good your network is. If you've got a 2.5G network, then you might just be perfect. So anyway, that was quite a lot of work. I came into this thinking it would be a 10-minute job, because it should have been. But then I hit some problems, as I might have showed you earlier. Like one, my Fritzbox does not implement SMB properly, so that just didn't work. My DDWRT box also has problems with SMB, that it doesn't report the correct storage size, so Steam doesn't think there's any room to put any games in there, so that didn't work. And in the end, I set up an SMB server on my Fedora server, and it sort of works. So I really hope that helps, especially for you, Winnie, and I hope that you don't have the same problems that I had. So it should work, but it doesn't. And depending on your server, it might not work at all. Even if it is implementing SMB, it might not be implementing it well. And that's it. Laters. What This should have been easy, oh Winnie. It's not your fault, Lord Gabe. You must change the way steam behaves, oh Winnie. What have you done to me, oh Winnie? It's not your fault. It's Gabe's.